custom code elections have come about as a result of the government being forced to come up with alternatives because of Supreme Court decisions against the Indian Act. So when our rights were being suppressed by the Indian Act, the government decided that they would come up with alternatives to the Indian Act, that our people would be allowed to become self-governing. They put it under that bracket of self-government.
Good afternoon. My name is Vaughn Johnston. I'm from the Serpent River First Nation. Georgia Maneg and myself were hired to work on a draft custom election code for the community of Beausoleil First Nation. We could only work on completing a draft because originally the funding went to Cape Croker. They gave it up, and then Beausoleil First Nation, was in turn next in line to receive the funding, but not sufficient time to complete the entire project. INAC would only extend the funding 1 month past the end of the fiscal year, and the end of the fiscal year is March. So we had approximately 3.5 months to work on everything we needed. So what we decided to do was for all the off-reserve voters, members of the community, we sent the letter out notifying that there will be a survey posted on SurveyMonkey that they could fill out. Georgia and I also went around to the community homes, and for anybody that wanted to fill out the same survey, we would record what they had said and do the tabulations. So what we looked at putting in the survey, because of my experience, I did the majority of the putting the survey together. But I looked at some of the common issues in the Indian Band election regulations, or the IBER, that you're governed under with the Indian Act elections, and looked at what the community, I've heard from different community members on what they didn't like in there. So some of the examples of what we put in the survey: should candidates for chief and council be required to provide a clear police check or a CPIC before they could run for chief or council? And if they had a criminal record as an indictable offense, convicted of an indictable offense, would they be allowed to be on the ballot? Should anybody with litigation against the band be allowed to run as a candidate? If they're suing the band, should they be allowed to run as a candidate for your council? To show the seriousness of the election, should there be a non-refundable fee that candidates have to pay to get their name on the ballot? What happens sometimes is people just nominate for the sake of nominating, and are they taking it seriously? Under the INAC election code, it's a 2-year term. Should the term be longer? Should the position become vacant? Do you have a by-election, or do you look at putting something else in place, just appointing the next in line? Even though this one couldn't be changed, but it could be updated amended at a later date, should non-natives be allowed to be nominated and run for a chief candidate? And should candidates be allowed to run for both chief and councillor on the same ballot? So those are some of the common ones we put in. There are others. But what we did is we got the input from, 300 to 400 surveys, and using that information, we developed a draft custom election code for the band that they could take forward to the membership to cast a vote. We got that far, and it was up to the band to finish the rest. things happen, I guess, and unfortunately, it never got done. But so hopefully in the future, you look at having a ratification vote on it, whether you have to accept, whether you're going to accept it or not.
I think that this is a chance for us to look at the clan system and have a better representation of everybody within our community, within our councils.
One thing I'll point out to you is that your draft or your custom election code, once you adopt it, it's a living document. So you're not getting the perfect code right off the bat. This will be amended from time to time to keep improving it based on what the community needs and traditions are. So what you want to look at is the code that's going to the people to begin with, that it is drafted or made up of things that the majority of the people would like in there, because you can't please everyone. So what you're doing is you're trying to change and adopt some of the common issues that everybody has a concern with. For example, 2 years isn't enough to really do anything for the community. So you're looking at those common issues that the majority of the people look at. And then you can look at other things at a later date. For example, what is the distance that you can live from outside of the community, off the island, before you could run for a chief or council? Right now, you can live anywhere. You can live in BC, you can live in the States, because you're allowed to run. So that's basically what George and I looked at when we completed the draft custom election code for Beausoleil First Nation.